All right, hello everyone. Welcome to another SE test lesson. We're going to talk about writing an introduction for the IELTS Writing Task 2. So let's get started. IELTS Writing Task 2 requires an introduction, 2 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. For this lesson, we're going to talk about writing the introduction, so the first part of the essay. The introduction is pretty much the same for every type of writing task to essay. So we're going to cover a few things: example essay prompts. We're going to look at an example introduction. We're going to look at the process of writing an introduction. We're going to look at what paraphrasing is. We're also going to talk about writing a thesis statement, and then we're going to look at some examples. So first, let's look at an example essay prompt. So this is an essay prompt you might see on the IELTS exam or something very similar. Violence in video games promote violence. To what extent do you agree? So this question is asking, do video games make violent people? When someone plays a video game, a violent video game, do they become violent as well? This is an example introduction. It is argued that violence in video games promote violence. I disagree with this statement because there are many examples where this is not the case, and there's no known correlation between violence in video games and violent individuals. All right, so we just looked at an example of an introduction to IELTS Writing Task 2. How did we do that? Let's look at the process of writing an introduction. So here are some things you should already have done before starting to write your essay. First, figure out what kind of essay is required. What type of essay is it? What type of essay prompt is it? So we'll look at those. We'll look at those at the end of the lesson. Look at the essay prompt. Look at the information the essay prompt provides to you. Then you need to write the introductory statement. So paraphrase the essay prompt. You'll rewrite the essay prompt using your own language by changing the words or restructuring the language or changing the language. Make sure the meaning remains the same, so you don't want to change the meaning. Next, you will need to write your thesis statement. So your thesis statement, you should include your opinion and include the scope of your essay. So we'll look at that. But first, let's look at paraphrasing. So this is what we do first when we start writing our introduction. What is paraphrasing? This is rewriting the same idea, so you do not change the meaning, you restructure the language, and you use different words. Next, you need to write your thesis statement. What is a thesis statement? Well, a thesis statement is 1 or 2 sentences about the main idea of your whole essay. It also includes the scope of your essay. This is what your essay will be about. So next comes some background information. Not every essay requires background information, but it helps to make your point more clear or the essay more clear, your introduction clear to the reader. So let's practice. We have violence in video games promote violence. To what extent do you agree? So look at our introduction. We have our paraphrase in red. It is argued that violence in video games promote violence. So if we look back, we can see it's paraphrased here. And then we have our thesis statement. I disagree with this statement, so this is what our main idea will be about. And because there are many examples where this is not the case, there's no known correlation between violence in video games and violent individuals. So let's practice. Violence in video games promote violence. To what extent do you agree? This is the essay prompt. We did this one already, so it is argued that violence in video games promote violence. That is our paraphrase. Then we have our thesis statement. So this contains the main idea of our essay. I disagree with this statement because there are many examples where this is not the case. There is no known correlation between violence in video games and violent individuals. Okay, so let's look at a different type of essay, advantages and disadvantages. Now we have our essay prompt. Many cities are starting to implement bicycles as a form of public transportation. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages. So now, if you'd like to pause the video and practice, write your introduction. All right, so you can look at your introduction and compare it to what we have. Bicycles are becoming more and more popular in different cities around the world. This is the paraphrased sentence. We have our thesis statement. The main advantage to using bicycles as public transportation is the environment, while one main disadvantage is the convenience. So here are our two examples in the scope of our essay, and that is part of the thesis statement. So we'll talk about the environment. We will also talk about a disadvantage, convenience. So this essay will discuss both. So this helps to clarify our point with the background information. Next, discussing a topic essay. So again, if you would like to pause the video and you can write your introduction. All right, so you had a chance to read the essay prompt, and we have some private schools are responsible for the moral character of their students. Some agree that this is a good way to raise children, while others disagree. Discuss both sides and give your opinion. So discussing a topic essay, private schools are a way to give parents more of a choice in how their children receive their education. So this is the essay prompt paraphrased. Then we have our thesis statement. This can be beneficial to the moral character of the children that attend the school. However, there could be some adverse effects from this type of education. It should ultimately be a balance between the institutions and the parents. So notice this one does not have any background information. We could add a sentence to say something like, we will discuss these in this essay. All right, let's look at another example, problem solution essay. So again, read the essay prompt, pause the video, and practice writing your introduction. All right, so you have read the essay prompt, and you can find a lot of different materials like movies and music on the internet for free. What are some problems with this, and what are some possible solutions? So if we look at the introduction, we have our paraphrase. A lot of artists or companies lose out on profits because you can pirate their intellectual property. Then we have our thesis statement. Online pirating can cause problems for these companies and artists, like a loss of profits and stolen intellectual property. So now we know what we will talk about in the essay: a loss of profits and stolen intellectual property. This essay discusses some problems and solutions to the issue. All right, and now we have a 2-question essay. So again, pause the video, read the essay prompt, and practice. All right, so you had a chance to read the essay prompt. Learning another language can be very time-consuming. Is it worth the investment of time? What are some outcomes from learning another language? So notice we have 2 questions we need to address, or we need to write about. So we have our paraphrase. Learning another language can drastically improve your chances in life, and making a commitment to learning a new language is well worth the time involved. In our thesis statement, there are many advantages to learning a new language, like career advancement and cultural understanding. This essay will give a detailed explanation of these 2 examples and why learning a new language is propitious or advantageous or helpful. All right, so that is it for our introduction to the IELTS Writing Task 2. Did you notice any patterns? Pause the video now and add some comments below. What pattern did you see? What was the same in all of the essays? Also, pause the video, and if you have any questions, add them in the comments below, and I'm happy to answer your questions. All right, so I hope you had a chance to think about the patterns. We will talk about that now. So we noticed there are 3 colors, right? Red, our paraphrase; blue, our thesis statement; green, our background information. So you notice that every introduction follows the same pattern. We have our paraphrase, our thesis statement, and then some background information. Now, you can do these in a different order, but it's just really helpful to remember an order and remember a structure when you are taking your exam and writing your essay. It's easier to do this than to try to think of a new way to write the introduction. But again, there's more than one way to do it. But I highly suggest just sticking to this structure. Start with a paraphrase, thesis statement, provide some background context or background information. All right, so thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe I will be adding some new videos, and you will see whenever we have more IELTS materials. Also, if you are a member of our Facebook group, thank you. If not, be sure to join, and I have office hours every Thursday. All right, thank you. We will see you next time.